This is Jonathan Doolin playing Factory Town version 0.148b, and I am going to load from the last video that didn't have sound problems, which was starting leather. I think I didn't have sound problems. Maybe I did, but I was having sound problems in everything since. Anyway, during this video, I'm going to use something called LucidChart, and I haven't paid for this software. I'm on a free account, which means I am limited in two ways. Uh, One, I can't make the diagrams very complex, and the other is that I only get 3 of them to work with. So I've got a very limited space with the free account. Anyway, and I think they said I could purchase a year for $7.95 a month, or something like on a monthly basis, I could pay $9.99 a month. And I don't know if it's worth it to me to pay that quite that much. If I, it might be though that it's up at that level where I could use it, because it really does help you get your thoughts organized. Um, Anyway, what I'm using it for, you see it's starting to appear. Here's an output that I want from the system, a warm coat, which costs 2 wool, 1 leather, and 1 shirt. It takes 12 seconds to make. And basically I'm building the ingredient list coming from that. It's taking it a bit to load everything up. For instance, it takes the 2 wool from the output of the pasture, which produces 2 wool and 2 fertilizer, and that fertilizer is going up to a barn over here, which I just call the fertilizer barn. In general, what I'm going to do with the fertilizer barn, any fertilizer barn in the game from this point forward, is to put the fuel and put a source of fuel and some fertilizer in there, and then I'm going to set up some logistics right outside it that will send out fertilizer if we are above a certain amount, and send out fuel if we're not above that amount. So that way it will maintain enough fertilizer to feed the farms, which require fertilizer, but it won't be sending out fertilizer, but it won't accumulate fertilizer to the point that it fills up the barn and things get clogged. So what I did with this chart in general was I took all the outputs. I'm outputting a shoe, I'm outputting a wood axe. I'm also outputting a book, outputting, here it says reinforced plank, and you see the reinforced plank is going here to the pickaxe, but it's also got a +1 out, which means that it should be producing 2 reinforced planks. So notice up above here I have 2 plate going in here, 4 nails going in here, because it's producing 2 of those. And so the nail, since it's producing 2 nails over here and 4 nails over here, should be producing 6 iron, or should be using 6 iron and 6 fuel. So I got 6 fuel coming in. So that's how these diagrams are working for me. Right now, I haven't really worked out anything regarding the times. I am planning on, for the most part right now, focusing on getting the ingredient ratios correct. So we'll see whether I use this to um, whether I use these diagrams to get the farm. Let's see, can I fit it all on one screen? We'll see whether I can get this to. There we go. Got it all on one screen for you there if you want to if you want to look at it, if you want to pause the video and look at it. Here, I'll put it on the top since there's a bunch of stuff at the bottom of YouTube videos a lot of times. There we go. And that's what I'm going to try to do today. Well, or at least part of that. First thing I'm going to do is try to find a clean area to put it. One thing this game doesn't have is how do I get the screen to move? There it goes. Is real clean areas to build stuff. Let me mention something about this over here. I was thinking of building vertically earlier, and I have an issue with that. Mainly that steam pipes are not going to be able to be used on these items unless, well, actually I could test that, whether steam pipes can be used to build vertically from the ground. That would be something that I could check. I don't have any steam pipes being built though, so let's start with that. Oh man, I forgot what pause means. Okay, pause means that it is recording. Or never mind. Okay, it was recording and I didn't realize it. So right now I'm gonna purchase this land because that looks pretty flat. I'm gonna look down here at the lake really close and see if I would lose any resources by just flattening that lake and bringing it up to surface level. I would lose a few fish. I think I'll sacrifice those fish though, because that's a tiny patch of fish. I'll just flatten this whole area out here by building the terrain tools that are flattening down. Yeah, it says flatten down, and I think that means it uses the middle thing in the cursor um, to start the flattening process. And what I'm just going to do is just make that as big as possible and just swoosh across that lake there, including those fish. I'm going to say goodbye, fish. We are getting rid of your natural habitat. This is not this is not a nice process for fish, but otherwise, every other resource in the game is preserved while you're doing this flattening. They're just brought down to a base level. Then let's see. That reminds me, there's a little bug report that I should make regarding those caravans that get stuck at the edges of the map. That might not be in version 0.148C or 0.149. So this is getting done. I'm getting into a region that I don't need to flatten. Okay, I've got that flattened. Question, do I want this river flattened too? This looks like a nice spacious area. Yeah, I'm going to flatten everything. Flatten, flatten, flatten. Whatever lived there is now gone. And I could potentially just... I mean, right now I have no way of any plant on the map I can just regrow. So I could potentially just get rid of all the plants on the map. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll get rid of the trees here, so that I can have some space to put everything I want. Okay. So I paused it for a second. Let me show you something I can do with this. Okay, so this is the nail. It's providing 4 nails over here, providing 2 nails over here. I want to go in to this and add +1 out, because basically nails are something that make everybody happy. And so now, since that has gone up by 1, I know that I'm no longer using 6 fuel, I'm using 7 fuel. Not a big deal, but 7 fuel. All right, now that I've got that, I'm gonna bring up Notepad++, which has a always on top configuration, so it can remind me what I want to build. And to build out in this region, we're going to have workshops, buildings, workshops, and we're going to have several of them. Let's line them up somewhere 1, 2 from that spot there, and we will maneuver these around as necessary as we play, because they can be moved. With a shoe, a wood axe, a pickaxe, and a nail, pickaxe, reinforced plank is the next thing on the list. A nail. He can't make nails, but he can make warm coats. Let's see. Tab. Workshop. And I don't know why I don't have cloak on there. Cloak. Somehow I missed that in the list. Let's build a couple others. That one will be the poultice. Remedy is going to have to be built in a kitchen. Kitchen. Remedy. I like this version of the game because you can move things around real easily after you've built things. So now I hold down the F button and you can can see what everything is working on. And then, okay, I think all of these things here are something that they will generate income and happiness. So there might be some other things that I want to do, but for now that's pretty good. Okay, I'm thinking in terms of how I'm going to output these, and I think I'm going to send it to silos, each individual product for being sent back to the town center is going to be put in silos. But before I do that, build terrain tools, terrain flatten down. Let's flatten a little bit more terrain over here, because looks like I just missed this earlier. That would give us quite a bit more room to build. What's it look like over there? It looks broad and flat, but it might not be empty, right? Because what I would really be looking for is an area where there wasn't any water, or where there was a lot of water that I could lift up using the red tools. I've got that in the way. Actually, I can close that for the moment. So you can see I don't know what I started with. I think it was 36,000. I've spent about 11,000 red coins just flattening things. And I'm still flattening. Okay. Then I will get rid of just a couple of small things around the map. What is this, coal deposit? Yeah, I can get rid of coal deposit there. And this, I think, is iron. Yeah, I'll get rid of that iron just to have a little bit more maneuverability. And I will plant herbs later. I just need room to think. That's what I need. Okay, give myself lots and lots of space to move things around. And so each I think I had the video thought I was recording, but I wasn't. But let's look at these things. The workshop is making cloaks with 2 leather. This is using 1 leather, and this is using 2 leather. So altogether, we're going to be thinking in terms of 5 leather. Is there any way to distribute 5 leather? No, we think in terms of 6 leather. 6 leather. Okay. So 1 leather for just straight output. So ideally, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have leather coming out of this. And I'm going to create a complicated set of conveyor belts. Two going into this barn. Let's see. Let's actually... Okay, this is going to be weird at first. Okay. Actually, I better not worry about where it's going yet. I just want to create the setup. We're going to have a grabber here that grabs leather. We're going to split that leather 3 ways. So we'll have 1 way going here, 1 way going here. No, we just want it to go two ways at first. Hold on. We'll have it split the leather and go two ways. And from each of those two ways, it'll split three ways. So I'll put a splitter. Now, first, let's go ahead and split this one. Okay, interesting. So what's going to happen in build logistics blocks splitter? This first splitter is going to split two ways. I have built that wrong, so let's move these four blocks one this way, and then there we go. So those two of the three will go into the workshop, which requires two leather. Then one of the three will go into that workshop, which will come from right here. And then we'll have two of the three go into that workshop. Oops. And one of the three will go into this workshop. No, one of the three will just come out to what we're going to do here is we're going to put silos out in front of each of these to be an output. Okay. Okay, and then so we'll put two more splitters down, one here and one here. That's going the wrong way. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. This can be removed. These can be something's gone wrong. I'm not getting, yeah, I am getting output to there. 1. Oh, here's the problem. Okay, I see something. Okay, here, these two belts are not saturated. I can get rid of this line. What else can I get rid of? I technically don't need both of these. This could just turn right there. I don't think it's going to be producing so much leather that it saturates any lines. But right now it does have the proportions right. We'll have we'll have 1, 2 going into this barn and a third one going into this barn. A fourth one going straight here to this output, and a fifth and sixth one both going down to this workshop. So that way we'll be so that way this belt will create those items in proportion to each other. The silos, we'll get into the reason that I'm setting them up this way later. I'm not going to store the output goods in barns because, well, it's real easy logistics to get them into the silos, and then also we'll have the option to build rail directly past those silos, so the mine carts could pick up items if we have those set up that way. Let's describe some other options besides all of this complexity. One option would be to create so much leather that that these belts never get saturated. Or rather, that the output is maintained the whole time. Let's look at the times that this takes. This uses 2 leather every 4 seconds. This one uses 1 leather every 12 seconds. And this one uses 2 leather every 5 seconds. Let me do the math. Okay, 2 every 5 plus 2/5 plus 1/12. 2/5 plus 1/12 plus 2/4. Shoot. Let's put those in a decimal form. 2/5, that is 4/10. 0.4, 2/12, or 1/12. It's less than 1/10, so let's round it to 1/10. 2, so 0.4 plus 0.1, 2/4 is 1/2, so 0.4. What's going to happen with the belt that I've got set up is this belt is going to saturate because he's hardly using any, but 0.4 plus point. So basically these are going to use one, between all 3 of them, they're going to use 1 leather per minute. 1 leather per second. This is producing 1 leather in 8 seconds. So right now it is far from the capability of actually saturating them. But let's consider another way that might be a little less messy than what I've got there. Basically what I've got is a 2-way splitter that BGP, BG, click on splitter. or B tab spell splitter. B tab splitter. Okay, so we got the splitter going that way, and we got this divided into two. So this is another option for how you will build things. Then we have two splitters that copy that will go three ways. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a silo. Okay, we're going to put a silo like right here that will get 2 parts out of 6. A silo over here that gets 1 part out of 6. A silo here gets 2 out of 6. Could arrange these a little bit more neatly, but and then what we can do is basically have, once we have 2 out of 6 and 1 out of 6, we can set those, the 2 out of 6, to go. We can that way we can distribute them and then move things over. Let's go ahead and just delete that, all of that. This is going to take workers, unfortunately, for delivery, but it'll keep everything nice, and it'll keep everything a little bit neater. Move. And let's test this on something. Well, no, I just test it on the leather right away. Move. All those arrows are like reversed, it looks like. 1, 2. So I'll move this whole thing over a little bit so that it's a little bit ugly. I could make it more symmetrical, probably. M. It didn't move. Let's see what happens. We'll put a farm. For the moment, we'll just use build a farm over here. I'll probably delete this farm, but we'll have grain coming from here. Could just have people. No. Oh, yeah. Okay, B, D, G. Grain production. Animal feed. Okay, animal feed should start coming into that barn shortly. There we go. And oh, shoot. Don't want the wrong thing on that belt. Just leather, please. Okay. And so as it goes, we should see these silos fill up in proportion to their in a 2-to-1 ratio on both sides. I think that might be a good way to handle it, just have things going into silos, and then from the silos we could build elevated belts to where it needs to go or something, or we could use wagons to do the approach. He's not getting any water. So let's go ahead and build a well for him and a cloth belt and a grabber. Send water into there, and then we'll start making leather. Let's build a barn for the poo. Building barn. I really should use my quick bar more often, but I will specifically send I'll make a chute which leather can't travel down, and then I don't have to worry about what that grabber is doing. It's just putting fertilizer in the barn. Alright, so we've got the operation started. This silo has 4, 1, 2. Okay, let it run for a little while so we can see what the ratios really look like. 4 to 2, 2 to 5. So I think it is essentially working. The silo is, and then I can put then I could put workers to carry, probably like caravans or something like that, to carry from those silos to those locations. Also, at the same time, say for one of these workshops, I could set up something like this. Instead of using a silo, I could use a barn that contains all the resources of that workshop, so that it doesn't have to be delivered directly to the workshop. It could be delivered to a barn, and then we could have it delivered by a caravan, and the caravan could be set, say, for leather, wool, and what was the other thing that guy used? Shirts. Shirts. So the caravan could be carrying more than one different, carrying exactly what's needed. And then the barn, or this thing, since it needs 2 wool to each leather and shirt, go ahead and set that second inventory slot to wool. Or that last inventory slot to wool. Okay, so that's an idea that we could set up. I think I like that idea. I'm going to run with it, but not in this video, maybe the next one. Thanks for watching. This has been Jonathan Doolin playing Factory Town, version 0.148b.